Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Today we are talking about networking. Business networking is the sharing of information or services between people, businesses, or groups. It is also a way for individuals to grow their relationships for their job or business. Justin Ford is an international short-term rental safety expert and the director of safety and certification programs at Breezeway, where he is helping property managers and owners maintain the safety of short-term rental properties. Justin was the first to elevate awareness of safety in vacation rentals back in 2013. He has appeared on ABC's Good Morning America as a commentator on addressing safety in the home. He really has become the safety guru in the vacation rental industry I enjoy so much. I first met Justin when he introduced me at a Vacation Rental Management Association conference for a presentation I was giving. I really enjoyed his transparency. At the same time, when he was introducing me after, I asked him, I said, "How have we never met?" He said, "Oh, we've met. You just didn't give me the time of day." That was obviously a defining moment in my life as I am sharing this story right now. He totally called me out. Since then, I have made it a point of doing my best to remember people I meet at conferences. I get their card, I take notes. Did we meet at breakfast or lunch? Which day was it? And what did we talk about when I met them? This helps me remember them, especially when you're at conferences and there's so many different people that you are coming into contact with. Get ready to hear what business networking is all about. Hi, Justin. Thank you so much for joining us today and talking about networking.
I love it. I'm happy to be here with you. Ever since I've met you and spent time with you, you're one of my favorite people on the planet. So this is great.
Oh, you're so sweet. And you open up right away with your networking piece. One of the reasons why I enjoy you so much. So let's start off just talking about what is something you have recently learned about yourself?
You know, I turned 50 this past summer, and I think I've been caught in a mindset for a long time. Both my dad and my stepfather are both alive, very much part of my life. And I think I've always still been kind of locked in that I, need to get approval and I need to know what I'm talking about and think about things. And I need to have somebody say, "Hey, Justin, it's okay for you to do this." And I think I've finally come to realize that I don't need anybody's approval. I've been there, done that now. I haven't put on like old man slacks yet, but I feel like I'm finally at that point where I'm starting to be a little wiser.
That is so awesome. I feel like that is the root of where we start with psychology is like striving for our worth, right? And I can completely relate to that one. And it's such a wonderful feeling when you can just feel good in your skin and know that you do know what you're talking about. And obviously, you have had an intense couple years with your safety knowledge. I'm just so impressed watching you and how you've grown that. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's lucky in some ways, when you can find that niche that nobody else is doing and take ownership of it. When I look back, I didn't even think that was going to happen. It was never my plan. It was never to do that. But as I started going, I started to feel kind of like a race car driver that just so happened to have the best gas and the best tires. And I suddenly was looking either side and realized that, hey, I'm out ahead here. And I think I got this.
It's awesome. It's so great. All right, so let's talk about networking. So, when did you first really embody this skill of networking?
Probably about 15 years ago, in my local area when I was a property manager and I had a vacation rental company. A small group got started. It was a local networking group. And I think a lot of communities have these different networking groups. The one that I happened to be involved with was where only one person of one profession could be in it. So you could only have one banker, one real estate agent. And I was the vacation rental guy. And it's interesting because I used to think back and say, I don't know that I ever got any listings, because that was the whole idea. You'd meet somebody that would say, hey, if you're going to list your rental property, you got to talk to Justin at his company. But as I look back now, the motto of that group was givers gain. It was two words. And I embraced that. And I honestly think not a day goes by that I don't think about, boy, if I can introduce this person to this person, this is going to be great. And what those two can do would be amazing. And I don't think I openly say, and then I can get something out of that. But subconsciously, I know that that connection, that connection is going to make something good for everybody. And if it happens to me, that's great. If it doesn't, but it has. I can't tell you how many times I've made an introduction to two people and it's ended up benefiting me later on.
Yeah, it's so true. It's almost like a puzzle when there's that perfect connection that you're able to see. And I feel like it is absolutely a talent.
I'll give a quick example. I was just at a conference in Mexico, and there was a person from another company there who I've never met, but I see them on LinkedIn all the time. And I wanted to find a way to kind of get to know that person, but we don't really have, there wasn't any necessary need or even introduce. But I happened to be talking to some customers for me that I knew might be good for that company. And so I walked over and actually introduced those potential customers to that person, acting basically like I knew them, even though I really had never met them in person. And it turned out to be amazing, because then that person's like, holy smokes. I mean, it was almost like a supercharged introduction, that not only did Justin come over here and now we've met face to face, but he actually brought me a gift. He brought me these customers, and we all ended up bonding and connecting. And I can't even tell you how many positive things came out of that.
Yeah, which you're speaking to that piece of human connection, relationships, which is all the base of really what networking includes. How about when you've observed another leader just really being good at this skill?
I think that there are leaders that lead by example, and then there are leaders that tell you what to do. I've experienced both of those. The leaders that kind of find that balance in the middle are the ones that I think really stand out, and you want to surround yourselves with those. I mean, it's a key piece of why I work in the environment that I work in at the company I work in. I have that type of leadership at my company, which is fantastic. But I've been in other types of leadership where you're like micromanaged. It just doesn't work. And I come from a military background. I served in the U.S. Coast Guard. I have my captain's license. So naturally, if you're a captain, you are the leader. And at some point in time, you look around on the boat and decide that, all right, if this thing's getting docked, it's because I'm telling people it's getting docked. And so that puts you in that leadership role quickly. But it's really interesting to watch. I've been fortunate in that environment where I've worked under other captains. And it's really a quick way to learn about leadership when you see somebody who's a captain of a ship in operation.
Yeah. I remember a statement that you gave in one of my presentations about being on a boat with a couple. Do you remember this?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do remember this one.
You want to share a little bit of what you learned from that experience? Because it speaks exactly to leadership.
Yeah, that was a tough one. We were on a boat where we thought we were guests, and they had expectations that maybe we should have been a little bit more helpful. And unfortunately, some alcohol got involved, and you reached a point where it was like, we got to get out of here. It certainly opened up a lot about expectations and making sure that you're communicating and understanding. And we so many times do that. Someone invites you over to dinner over to the house. You offer to do the dishes, you offer to do the stuff. But I think there's so many times where we miss opportunities to really lay down the groundwork and discuss, all right, we're here. What are your expectations? Oh, you expected us to pay for fuel and food? You never mentioned that. And now we're finding out at the end of the trip, even though we paid for your dinner several different times. But you didn't know that, and we didn't know that. And now here we're at the end, and now I'm swimming ashore with my bags and I'm out of here. So, yeah, it's very good to make sure that you lay out expectations all the time.
And I will say another great skill of yours besides networking is you are a great storyteller. One of my favorites.
I appreciate that. I've heard a few stories.
And you've had a few experiences. All right. So, what have you witnessed in cultures where there wasn't good networking in companies or with a leader, and you saw that that was a key missing piece?
Yeah. I mean, I saw that in a company that I worked for. I did business with for about 15 years and worked for a year or two, where the leadership of the company was so focused on his success and not the company's success. He tied the company's success to his own success. And, there was a lot of narcissistic, behaviors that came out of that. And it was awful to watch. One of the lessons that taught me, which is kind of a side note to that, is that if you can't be devoted to the leader of the company that you're working for, you shouldn't be working at that company. And as soon as you find that you're being evasive or secretive or doing things, or you're speaking ill, comments about the leadership of the company, that's when you need to remove yourself, because you have to be devoted to whoever's in charge. And in that situation, I did get kind of caught up in, going, hey, there's something wrong with this guy. It wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. And as I look back, that's a lesson I think a lot about now. In everything that I do, I'm going to be devoted to who I'm working for. And the moment I'm not going to be there anymore.
Absolutely. It makes me think of that quote of we quit bosses, not companies.
Yeah.
And hey, everybody has to make career changes for different reasons, right? But ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And I think that's so important that you have pointed that out, because if anybody's listening to this and they're like, yeah, that's me, there's opportunity for a change.
Yeah. And you deserve to be respected as well. So it kind of goes both ways there.
And happy.
Happiness, I just talked to somebody recently who I work with, who I don't work directly with, and I asked them why they worked here, and it was great to hear that they said, because I work at a place where I'm able to use my own mind to solve problems, and I have the support to do that. And I said, to me, that just sounded like natural. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's why I'm here too. But you start thinking about it and go back to experiences where you didn't have that. And that person reflected on many times where they didn't have that. And I went, wow, yeah, we are lucky. We've taken that for granted.
Yes. And I would say that talks about the topic of risk, of just when we're able to feel like we can take risk in our environments, that is such a key piece of culture and what culture looks like. I had this conversation with somebody recently where I had pointed out, I said, do you think that you're going to grow in this company if you sit back and do what everybody says? Or if you take risk and speak up and give opinions and make suggestions? Which type of person do you think that this company is going to want to bring up and grow with?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. And risk is, obviously I deal with risk as my role, in safety. And so I talk about risk all the time. In a roundabout way, that's actually come back into my work life, my personal life, everything. One of the things that you have to adopt in my position is it's not a matter of if, but when. At some point in time, this house is going to burn down, and hopefully it's not tomorrow. Hopefully it's not next year, but at some point in time. And if you don't have that mentality, you can't go into the house and make it safe, because then everything's just if it's going to happen. You have to be prepared for when. And now I've really brought that type of evolution to risk into everything else I do with my work. And just knowing I am going to do this. It's not a matter of if I am ever going to get there. No, this is going to happen. Everything I step forward to do, every goal I step forward to achieve, I'm doing it because at some point in time, it's going to happen.
Yeah. So let's talk about your favorite leadership mentor. Who would that be?
I've had a lot of different mentors over the years, and you look around at, you look at the soft-spoken person, you look at the loud person, and there's different things. You combine it all together. I was fortunate a number of years ago. I worked for MBNA America, which was a big credit card bank, and I actually used to manage their corporate yachts, and I was a corporate yacht captain. And they brought in people to help with leadership of the company. It was a big focus of the CEO. And one of the people they brought in was General Krulak. And General Krulak was the retired commandant of the Marine Corps. And, I'd been around military, I knew military, and so I just took on a natural assumption of this. But this man came in and brought and introduced something in that I live by all the time in my life now, and that's character. He talked all the time about men and women of character. And are you a man or woman of character? Develop your character. Surround yourself with people of character. I mean, he just beat that word into your head. And it's something I look at. I honestly constantly evaluate people based on what I learned from General Krulak on character. Is this a person I want to do business with? Do they have the character to ensure that this is something that's going to be seen through? Is this the type of customer or business person? Is this a woman I want to marry? Does she have good character? And I think about it with my kids too. My daughter called me with a problem last night, and I talked to her about charactership and how important that is, that she needs to step up.
Oh, love it. It is so key. So what about a quote that really embodies the leadership skill of networking?
I think not only for networking, but everything, it's a quote I live by. It's involved heavily with safety. It's involved heavily with all the relationships that I have. And that is, it's 3 words. Complacency is devastating. And if you stop networking, if you stop making connections with people, it's going to stop. It's something you have to do all the time. And I don't have a checklist. I don't say, oh, I better network today. And I don't even look back and say, how much did I network last month? But I've built it to that point now where it's subconscious, because I have done it so much, that there's people I reach out to all the time that just sharing stuff, even if it's a joke, it's a funny thing that you saw, keeping up those relationships with people, because there's going to be a moment where, instead of talking about how about the game last night, or talking about, where you going on, it looks like you had a great vacation, to going, hey, I got this idea. What do you think about this? And then saying, yeah, that's great. I know someone who we can bring in and do this. So keeping those relationships up is so important.
Yeah. All right. Let's close with, what is your favorite snack?
Ooh. So I know this isn't a healthy snack, but I have 2 boxes. You can hear them right now. I have Jujyfruits on my desk. When I was a kid, we had a movie theater in my hometown. It had 2 theaters. They turned the balcony into the second theater. And, that's where we watched E.T. and when the first Star Wars came out. And there was a little old lady behind the counter, and she'd scoop the popcorn with her hands. So it was pretty gross. I'll never forget, underneath that glass counter, they had different candies, and one of them was Jujyfruits, but she pronounced it Juicy-Fruits.
Oh.
So you'd go, I want some of those Jujyfruits. You want Juicy-Fruits? And you go, no, I want the Jujyfruits. So that was always such a special thing, because it always went back, you went to the movies, you got candy, you got Jujyfruits. And as I became an adult, I think that's something that ties me back to something fun and special.
I love it. It's awesome. Oh, Justin, thank you so much for your time today. It's so fun to talk to you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you too.
Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.